Greetings, this is Ridiculous Polygon Entertainment, and last time we added a map where you can test out movement, and tonight, in Devlog Part 3, we're gonna be expanding on the movement by adding sliding. I found a tutorial by Quarko Unreal Engine that really helped me out. Our goal for today is to have a functioning sliding mechanic and incorporating it into our current code. Our second objective is for sliding to activate only when you're sprinting and crouching at the same time. It's to avoid unnecessary clutter when it comes to the inputs. I can already tell you right now that we're gonna have a lot of inputs in the future, and having them combined and restricted to certain situations will be very beneficial in the long run. Third goal we have is to activate only when we're touching the ground, is to avoid some weird shenanigans in the air, because sliding implies that you have a burst of speed, and that can get really messy really quick. Now, lastly, what do I want from sliding? I want it to be very dynamic, and I want it to be useful both in combat and in movement itself. In movement, of course, is to avoid obstacles, get through tight spaces without the need to crouch walk, which is definitely much slower, and I want sliding to trigger when, for example, running downhill, you'll have a transition from running to sliding until you stop sprinting and then you naturally slow down. Things of that nature. For combat, I want you to be able to aim and shoot while sliding to add that extra oomph. While in combat, you can dodge, get that little burst of speed, and to lower your hitbox, while still maintaining the advantage of being able to attack the enemy. And in melee combat, I want you to be able to transition into attacks from sliding to do like some AoE. That's the general idea anyways. And now I add control, but shift needs to be activated. And now I go here, I go play, and I am sprinting. Oh! Oh! And now when I press control, this works! Holy shit! I made it work! This works. The spaghetti works, okay? It works, god damn it! Some added context is needed. The tutorial worked, but it clashed with my sprinting code, so I had to change it a little bit to incorporate it into our current system, and that included me asking ChatGPT for help, which confused me even further. Needless to say, it works now, and now this part of the time-lapse is just me making the logic behind sliding, not activating while you're in air. Yeah, so by this point, while just doing the voiceover for the clips without really going into editing too much, the video is turning out to be less than 5 minutes long, so I am gonna touch on the next subject. So the next thing on the agenda is vaulting/climbing. I'm pairing them together because they will be sharing a lot of the same functions, and they will be slightly different from each other. This is like fresh. This is from 2 years ago. This is a fucking response. Anyways, I ended up following a tutorial by Matt Asplund for vaulting and climbing. So by this point in the video, you might be wondering why I haven't changed the title or the beginning of the video. Vaulting/climbing turned out to be such a huge rabbit hole that I spent months trying to make work, and at the time of me editing this video, it's still not fixed. So I couldn't really justify saying that I added sliding, climbing, and vaulting. I added sliding, that's the only thing that is working. But I digress. What do we want from vaulting/climbing? I do want players to have a lot of mobility when it comes to verticality, having some areas be accessible thanks to climbing. Vaulting, on the other hand, it's more like flavor. Those two work very similarly. You essentially project a laser in front of you that detects obstacles and checks how high is it, how wide is it, are you able to interact, things of that nature. One cool trick that we've picked up today is using macros. All of the code that you saw in the previous time lapses, it's all inside of that one macro. It compiles it all into a block that can be reused later. That whole block of code is not finished yet. It was only the part that was shared between vaulting and climbing, and now we will separate, we'll go two branching paths, one for each one, And as you can see, by the amount of just blocks of code going everywhere, there are a lot of things that can, will, and have gone wrong. Here I'm just showcasing the detection. You can see where the red lines are. Yeah, they're too high. I'm gonna fix those later. But you can see that it's very jittery. It like pushes us to a specific position, but it is also waiting for the anim montage that isn't there. So I will have to make those in a later devlog. There isn't really anything interesting to say about our second branch of the code for climbing. It's very similar to the previous one. One thing that is actually interesting is the fact that I don't know yet how I'm gonna tackle climbing. Is it gonna be some areas that are able to be climbed over, or is the entire game itself, all the walls, climbable? I'm thinking of a mix between the two, having some restrictions while also giving a lot of freedom. It's a really tricky subject that I'll have to get a real feel on. To end of the video, let's have a look on just how much code is created here. We cannot test out if it's working properly until we make the anim montages, so that's gonna be the topic for the next video, spoiler alert.